What's up, football family? Welcome back to Space City Football. Guys, right off the bat, let me just start by apologizing for pushing the live stream back twice, but I have to be honest with you. I had to get into the right headspace. Absolutely furious right after the match. I had to cool off. I pushed it back to 8:30. I jumped on the live stream, and I wasn't ready. I was still fuming. I had to take a drive, clear my head, and look, the title is what it is because look, this is not going to be safe for work. I'm gonna let you know right now. We try to keep it clean as we can on here, but for lack of a better words, that was fucking embarrassing. It was absolutely disgusting to watch. It was uncreative, uninspired, just shit football. It's definitely the worst game that we have had over the course of the last 7 matches where we've only won one match. And there's really something to be said about the leadership, both on the sideline and on the field. There's something to be said about individual players, which we'll get into. But ultimately, what we saw tonight was a team that really just didn't care, overall. And of course, there's always those players that, that no matter what, they go all out for 90 minutes. And of course, we'll highlight those players because there's always a few. But overall tonight, we saw a team that was complacent with the win. They were okay to coast. And frankly, don't come to me and tell me that you're trying to reconnect with the city, that you're trying to reconnect with the fan base, build up the fan base, and fucking play like that. You don't put in a shift like that and then come to the fans and go, well, we tried. Because no, you didn't. No, you absolutely didn't. And I'm going to call out a few players right now because look, again, I'm already getting riled up. I had to take a long moment, and really look at this game and think, was it an off night or was it attitudes or what was it exactly? And we'll get into it. First things first, talking about the lineup, like I said before the game, we went with something that was a bit more defensive overall against Dallas, dropping 2 holding midfielders back instead of 1, and we also gave some chances to some players that really didn't get a lot of minutes. And what the result was you had players that for 90 minutes were like, we are boss hogging this football field. This is our house. This is our field. This is our 90 minutes. And, credit to those players against Dallas. They put on a show because, and again, you could chalk it up to the rivalry match because we talked about this earlier, right? Like, there's a drive and there's a want to win in those rivalry matches. But to turn around, and again, it's not a lot of time to turn around. It's only a few days. But you go on an away match, you go to Miami, you look at the table and you say, right, 3rd to the bottom in their conference, easy game, whatever, we're just going to coast. And look, at this level, it doesn't work. At this level, it doesn't work. And the result was absolutely shockingly embarrassing football. We started the game, or we at least the lineup comes out, and we've gone back to the 4-3-3. We've put Vera and Figueroa back in the lineup, despite their suspensions that that had them out versus Dallas. And immediately it's not working. You go 30 minutes where Miami completely puts on a possession clinic. They're absolutely ball hogging for that first 30 minutes. before the rain delay. I absolutely will not accept the rain delay as any excuse for any reason of any performances tonight, because the 30 minutes before that was an absolute showing from a team that has struggled drastically all season long. So we start off with the 4-3-3. Doesn't work. We come back from the break, and we've gone into what essentially is a 4-4-2, which, if I have a chance to speak with Tab, I'm asking him, I'm like, look, what part of attacking football is this? What part of high pressing, fast paced football are you trying to show here with this 4-4-2? We're not 1998 Manchester United. This is not going to work for these players, especially with Ramirez and Quintero up top. It makes no sense for us. Quintero, I've had a lot of problems with him, but tonight, Jesus Christ, man. I will say this. I very much plan on being at the Nashville game here in Houston on Wednesday. It's going to take a lot for me to remain in the stadium if Quintero is on that field. Tonight is a huge example of that. It's selfish football. It's my shit don't stink football. It's I'm better than you football. And all we see is time and time again is Quintero trying to dribble players and losing the ball for us. He thinks that we can't do anything without him. He thinks that we can't play without him. And frankly, it's starting to get to the point where, look, man, if he continues to do it, I can't support him in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, let's talk about the whole team for a second, before we start getting into into each individual player. So we go 4-4-2. Look, first things first, Mario Maric, again, probably if I had to pick a player of the game, it would be Maric. Inter gets a couple of chances early on, and he's on his toes. He's saving shots. He keeps the ball out for basically the entirety of the game, because it was not our defense that was doing it. Overall, the organization of the defense made a lot more sense. We kept the shape. Figueroa is still getting caught way too high, and he's not able to track back. He doesn't have the pace to do it or the endurance to do it. So he's still trying to go forward in the set pieces. He's still trying to go forward with the attack, and he's still getting caught too high, and it's not working. But for the majority of the time, we were able to keep our shape defensively. Seren and Vera in the midfield, again, shape was there, but there's no creativity coming out of the midfield. We don't see Memo or Lassiter making any crucial runs, any creative, dangerous runs that could open up space in behind the back four. And it's a flat midfield that we're not used to playing. On defensively, you could say, you can make arguments for it, but when you give up a penalty in the 57th minute, which we'll talk about that in a second, because it should have been 2 penalties. But when you give up a penalty in the 57th minute and you have this flat midfield line that can't open up the attack and can't move forward, it makes no sense to me. I don't understand why you drop that switch there. And then again, Ramirez and Quintero are, you put them forward, they're disconnected from the rest of the team. There's no connection between them on the ball. We saw Lassiter several times over trying to get the ball kind of, outside the 18 on the wing, kind of trying to drive. And you see Quintero standing still most of the time. He's trying to hold back, trying to maybe open up some space for maybe a negative pass, at the top of the 18. But most of the time it's in between defenders. He's not available as an option for a pass. He's basically waiting for Lassiter to put in all the work, dribble players, open up space so he can drop it for a one-time, so he has an easy one-time finish. It's the same way that he scored against Dallas. It's the same way that he scored against the Pass. You know, and people were trying to call me out on Twitter, basically saying, you know, how can you talk shit about Quintero when he has the most goals for us? I'm like, look, dude, his goals, number one, aren't that great. And yeah, he has the most goals for us, but we're 10th fucking place in the conference right now. 9th fucking place in the conference. It's not good enough. It's not good enough to accept that, you know, one player can get all the tap-ins for our team, and that's good enough. I don't accept that. And I don't accept that Quintero is the best player for our team, because he's definitely not. And I don't accept that we can't move forward without him, because we absolutely can. We absolutely can. And I think we proved that against Dallas. You know, you look at Inter Miami's setup, right? It's basically like a 3-4-2-1. It's extremely central, and their width is provided by these. They're essentially wing backs. They're midfield players, like a left mid and a right mid, but they're essentially defensive wing backs. And, you know, and they basically go box to box. And they were going box to box all game long. There were moments, especially after the weather break and into the second half, where possession was 65, 70, 75% percent Miami. You know, they're absolutely embarrassing us with the amount of possession they have. And there's no urgency from our team to close down the middle of the field. There's no urgency to press the ball and win it back, so we can push forward offensively. We allowed them to hold the ball for as long as they wanted, even after we were down 1-0, and we allowed them to come at us. And ultimately, we paid the price. I am so upset right now. I can barely even get a sentence out. That's how frustrated I am with this team. Look, again, man of the match has to be March for me, because that urgency is not there. So balls are going into Higuain in the 18, and in the final third, he's able to take the ball one time, turn, touch it a second time, and then have a shot with zero pressure. It's a system that ultimately it can't work. It cannot work. It may work, against a team like Nashville, one that we've already just come off a draw, and we kind of understand how they play. It will not work going forward. It will not get us into the top 6, into automatic playoff position. And frankly, if we're in this, I think it's like position 7 through 10 is in this kind of play-in round, so where you can get to the playoffs. But A, why are you okay with being in that position? And B, you will not get through that round playing the way that we are playing. You will not beat a San Jose, a Colorado, or Real Salt Lake, who's actually playing right now. And if they win, overtake us in the table. You will not beat those teams playing the way that you are playing. This system is not working. The system that we used last game worked incredibly. And I don't understand why, after you go a stretch of 6 games playing so terribly, without a win, a couple of draws, mostly losses, you go into Dallas, you change the formation, you change the system, you change the players because you have to, and they put in a 90 minutes that looks completely different than anything that we've seen in the last 2-3 months. It makes no sense to me why you drastically decide to go back to what wasn't working. The 4-3-3 is not working for us. The 4-2-3-1 worked incredibly. And there's players that played against Dallas that absolutely deserved to play tonight and didn't get that chance. We saw Junkwa come in the second half, came in way too late. He comes in for Memo, who already is one of those players who he wants to play for this club. He wants to play hard for 90 minutes, and he did. He probably played too long because he's coming off of an injury as it is. But the fact that that's the change that you make, way late in the game after it's way too late to change the result. I don't understand why you take out a player that loves playing for this club and wants to play for this club. You take out a Quintero, you take out a Struna, you take out a Vera, you take out these players who week in, week out are causing problems for us and essentially are just playing selfish football. Struna tonight, he gets the PK. It's a massive failure as a center back. He pulls down. Oh God, what was his name? It's De La Garza or no, Pellegrini. He pulls him down inside the box in the first half. Pulls him down from behind. He gets away with it. Ridiculous that he gets away with it. The entire Inter Miami team, they all go to the ref. They're all complaining about it. Should have been a VAR decision. Glad it wasn't because I hate VAR as it is. And he gets away with it. That's the moment where you got to go, holy shit, deep breaths, don't do that again. Because number one thing I said before this game is this team wins on set pieces. You can't give them set pieces. What happens in the 57th minute? He gives him the ultimate fucking set piece. He pulls him down inside the box in front of the ref. You already got away with it once. You're not going to get away with it twice. And, it's a straight PK. There are those moments all throughout the game where you have to look at Tab and you go, that player can't be there anymore. If he's constantly pulling down players in the box, if he's feeling like the only way he can get the upper hand on them is to foul them, he can't be there. It's that simple. He had a massive game for us against Dallas. Struna, he was on the bench game before that. He comes in, or was it 2 games before that? He comes back in. Organization of the defense is all over the place. He comes in against Dallas, and there's no Figueroa there, and I attribute it to that 100%. And the back, really 6 players, the back 4 and the 2 center holding mids are a complete unit for 90 minutes. Even when we go down to 10 men against Dallas, it's 90 minutes of organized defensive football, and we keep them out, and we score 2 goals. We get a late pen. Tonight, nowhere to be found. No voice, no authority, no command, no inspiration for the other players, and he pulls down a player in the box and costs us the game. Why should I? If I'm Tab, you got to tell me why I should look to play you next game on Wednesday. And you can argue, oh, maybe he's the best center back we got, blah, blah, blah. He's the leader. I didn't see that tonight. I didn't see a best center back. I didn't see a leader. Even though I rip on Figueroa as much as I do, even he had a better game than Struna tonight. I will concede that. In the attacking third, not even in his position, trying to get in on the set pieces, barely tracking back, and he's still having a better game than Struna. Absolutely embarrassing, absolutely ridiculous. Guys, welcome if you're just joining us. I'm seeing there's a few people in the chat. Please let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know if there's something you saw that you want to talk about, any particular player you want to talk about, we'll touch on it and we'll go into further detail. If you haven't already, subscribe to the page, hit that like button, and share it. Had to do that, had to take a break because, man, I can feel myself getting riled up because, again, this game, look, it's more than just dropping points. It's more than just the fact that you were 2 points. Yeah, 2 points outside of playoff position. This would have propelled you into playoff position, and you fucked it against a team that everyone knows is 100% beatable. They don't have the chemistry. They don't have the experience playing together as long as a lot of these other teams. You went in, you coasted, and you cost us massively. Put that aside for a second. Put that aside, because right now you have a club that is struggling, absolutely struggling, to have an identity in its own city. How can you go to the I put it to my brother a really good way earlier tonight, and I'm gonna say it again. You have a massive, absolutely massive youth club system in this city. 10 million people in the greater Houston area and in surrounding areas. You have Dynamo Dash youth teams throughout, those areas. You have Rise Soccer Club, is a massive club. You have all these different, clubs, TFC, there's a bunch. How do you expect those players to look at your first MLS team, Houston Dynamo team, and identify with them and be inspired by them and want to be like them if you put in shifts that look like tonight? You can't. You can't do it. Go into most of these youth clubs, say U14 and under. Go into those clubs and say, hey, name me 3 starting players on the Houston Dynamo roster. How many of them will be able to do it? Few, maybe. Not the majority. No way. They don't look to that team and say, I want to be like them. That's my city. Those are my heroes. That's who I want to play with. I can't fathom any young player looking at a game like tonight and even finishing the game. I almost didn't. I wanted to cut it off. I really, really did. It is absolutely shameful to put in a performance like that. And losses happen. I get it. Not like that. Not like tonight. You gave up is the message in the locker room. You thought, whatever. Fuck it. I'm better than this club. I'm better than my teammates. I'm better than the fans. I'm better than this city. Whatever it was, at the end of the day, you think your shit don't stink. You think I don't deserve to be graced by your football, and so you didn't give it to me. That is the message that I receive from a performance like tonight. And I think a lot of people receive a similar message. Just looking out on Twitter already, it's not even anger at this point. It's just deflated. It's just depressing. Why would I want to pay money in the middle of a pandemic with limited fans? Why should I be fighting to get seats in the stadium? Why should I be trying to go see you and risk going to see you? Right now, you can't convince me of that. Not if I'm an everyday fan or even a new fan. You can't convince me. Obviously, the longtime fans will be there. El Batallon will still be there with the drums and the horns. Texian Army will still be there. The Surge will still be there. Those people will be there. And honestly, you really should be kissing their ass every single time that they're out there, because they're the ones that are going to back you no matter what. Even when you have moments like this, they'll be angry, they'll be disappointed, but they'll back you. Know who you are. Know where you're at. Because, if you think you're a world-class footballer, you got humbled tonight. Absolutely, absolutely humbled tonight. Look, we got another game on Wednesday. It's a quick turnaround. It was a quick turnaround to this game. And look, keys to the game are going to be very much the same. Number one, play the players that want to play. Don't play Quintero. For the love of God, don't play Quintero. Don't play Figueroa. Play those players that busted their ass for you and got a draw against Nashville the first time. The ones that busted their ass and got a win against Dallas. Play Jonkwa. Play Memo. Play Serin. Play Bizama. Bizama had the game of his fucking life against Dallas. I don't know where the fuck our fullbacks were tonight. They weren't helping the situation. You can't convince me that those players wanted to be on that field more than Bizama. Say what you want about him, but Mans wants to play. Play those players that want to play. That's the only way you have a shot at getting a win against Nashville. Organization, look, over the last couple of games has been way better. So you don't necessarily have to worry about the shape of the team or the transition in defense. Not if you leave Figueroa on the bench. You will have to worry about that transition if he's in the game, because we saw it against Nashville, and it's the way they scored their goal. Straight through the middle, on the counterattack, right through Figueroa's spot. So the shape of the team has been good. but it has to be better if you're going to beat Nashville. We got a draw against Nashville with somewhat good organization. It has to be almost flawless to get a win. And then finally, look, we continue to get shots off. That's not a problem for us. We can get into the final third and we can get shots off. They have to be shots that matter. They have to be shots that test the keeper. They have to be shots that count. Look, tonight, I think I have the statistic look in front of me. 10 shots again. 10 shots. That is a lot for any team. Miami had 14. They had 4 on target. That shows you how utter crap they are. 4 shots on target. The only one that goes in is off of a fucking PK. We had 2. We had 2 shots on target. 10 off target. 12 shots. Like, what are we doing? How can you tell me that Quintero is the best player that we have if we put him and Ramirez up top and that's the result? Utterly shameful. If we are going to win against Nashville, those immediately have to turn into goals. Immediately. If you're going to have 10 shots, 5 have to be on target. 6 have to be on target. And they have to go in. You can't put a shot that dies at the keeper's feet and he can just scoop it up. It's not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. How many shots do we have on target in the game against Dallas? I'm going to look right now. Because look, it's getting ridiculous. I'll open up the last 3 matches here. All right, Dallas game 2-0. Lineup, 4-2-3-1. Awesome game, awesome lineup. Look at the statistics. I don't want to see Manotas in the lineup either, honestly. 11 shots, 6 on target, and you win the game. 11 shots, 6 on target, you win the game. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Before that, Sporting Kansas, 13 shots. You only score once. You had 13 shots all game. Nashville, 1-1. Go to the statistics. Let's see. 18 shots. 18 shots and you scored 1 goal. What the fuck are we doing in training? What are we doing in training to have 18 shots and only 1 goal? How are we creating that many opportunities and not capitalizing? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Put in the players that want to play and put in the players that will make it count. Because currently we're not doing that. Last thing you got to do is, for the love of God, you got to make a fucking sub before the 80th minute tab. It's too late, and it's constantly too late. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you wait to the absolute end of the game to make any kind of change. Trust your players, man. How can you expect them to have any confidence going forward? To have any belief in themselves that they can make a difference on the field? If you won't even go to them when we're losing. I don't get it. I absolutely don't understand it. Look, those are going to be the points for me going into the next time. And look, I'm sorry about the passion. I'm sorry about the language. I get it. That's why we put a disclaimer in the video right off the bat. If you're a Houston Dynamo fan, you are pissed off right now. You are absolutely pissed. You don't accept this match. You don't accept this result. You don't accept this performance. You are going to your team and you are saying, if you want me to continue to support your club, you never put in a shift like that again. You lose games, fine. It happens in football. But to put in a performance like that and act like you don't give a fuck, why should I? That is my takeaway from tonight. Guys, as always, if you disagree, let me know. If you agree, even better. But, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts. And of course, follow us on the Twitter page. We'll be doing, like I said, I'm definitely gonna be trying to go to the stadium on Wednesday. So we'll be doing a live show earlier in the day. We're gonna be talking about hopefully what is a much better game plan going into the game against Nashville, because look, at this point it's must win. It's absolutely must win. So look for us there. And of course, after the game, we'll be doing the match reactions. If you see me in the stadium, if you see me somewhere like pitch or wherever before the match, come say hi to me and tell me how great or how poor of a job I'm doing, and we'll talk about it. So guys, thank you. Rough night, embarrassing night, but we can only move forward at this point. And of course, forever we are orange. Vamos.